Okay, good afternoon, IT 412 for the discussions of hacking and viruses. First, the definitions of that. Hacking is a technical effort to manipulate the normal behavior of network connections and connected systems. Okay. Hacking referred to constructive, clever, technical work that was not necessarily related to computer systems. So hackers are most commonly associated with malicious programming attacks on the internet and other networks. In other words, no, yung ating hackers ay all thief. Yan, yung mga nakaw, pag nanakaw, not only on the physical physical items but also soft items. So there are different types of hackers. First is the white hat. So kung nasa labas po kayo, paki-off na lang muna yung ating mga ayan, para walang ingay na marinig kasi naka-record po yan eh. So for the first type of hackers, we have the white hat. White hat means it breaks security for non-malicious reasons, perhaps to test their own security system or while working for our security company which makes security software. So ang ating white hat ay nagbe-breaks po yan ng it is not non-malicious reasons. Siguro tinetest lang yung kanilang security system. And then for black hat, a black hat hacker who violates computer security for little reason beyond maliciousness or for personal gain. Black hat hackers break into secure networks to destroy data or make the network unusable for those who are authorized to use the networks. So from the word black, 'di ba? Parang pag sinabi natin black, parang may black intentions, 'di ba? So yun yung black hat. Meron nga siyang black intention. So ito yung mga nagbe-breaks into secure networks. While the gray hat, a gray hat hacker is a combination of a black hat and a white hat hacker. A gray hacker may surf the internet and hack in to a computer system for the sole purpose of notifying the administrator that their system has a security defect. Example, then they may offer to correct the defect for a fee. Yan ang ginagawa po minsan ng ating mga computer technicians, no? Sasabihin na ganun lang yung hindi naman nila lahat natin, pero sometimes, no, mayroong mga ganong gray hat intentions. And then another one is the script kiddie. A script kiddie is someone who looks out to exploit vulnerability with not so much as trying to gain access to administrative or the root access to the system. So itong script kiddie ay ito po yung nag-exploit or yung mismong root ang kinukuha niya. No? Ayaw niya ng pangmaliitan na hacking. Gusto niya yung pangmalaki ang hacking. And then another one is the underemployed adult hackers. The former script kiddies can't get employment in the field, want recognition in hacker community, big in Eastern European countries. In other words, ito pong mga ito ay yung mga mayayabang, pinagyayabang na nakahack sila. No? So yan yung mga underemployed adult hackers. Former script kiddies. Yan. Next is the ideological hackers. Hack as a mechanism to promote some political or ideological purpose, usually coincide with political events. No? So yung mga nasa politiko, katulad ng mga terrorism, so yan yung mga ideological hackers. And then the crackers. The crackers are the people aiming to create software tools that make it possible to attack computer system or crack the company or the copy protections of use fee software. A crack is therefore an executable program created to modify the original software to remove its protection. Yan kayo, mga ginagawa niyo yan. Nagka-crack kayo. No? Pag wala kayo makitang, pag ang software na i-download ay may bayad, so hahanap ng pang-crack doon sa kanyang identification. Okay, next is the carders. The carders mainly attack chip card systems, particularly bank cards. To understand how they work and to exploit their flows, the term carding refers to chip card piracy. Yan, so yung mga nag-i-install ng mga iba't ibang gadgets sa ating ATM machines para makapag-transact, no? Without na notifying. Oh, yan, carders ang tawag dyan. So hackers access your internet. In 1988, a worm program written by a college student shut down about 10% of computers connected to the internet. This was the beginning of the era of cyber attack. So doon pala nagsimula yung hacking in 1988. Okay, so naisilang na ba kayo niyan? So kung hindi pa, mas matanda pala sa inyo yung hackers. So ito yung program, no? Worm program. Kasi hindi ka na makapag-hack pa walang programs. So sinulat lang yan ng isang katulad ninyo, a college student. Okay. Today, we have about 10,000 incidents of cyber attacks which are reported and the number grows. Okay, once inside, the hackers can, number one, so pag nasa loob na siya ng system, pwede nang mag-modify logs. Ibig sabihin nun, to cover their attacks, to mess with you. And pwede na rin siya mag-steal ng files, sometimes destroy after stealing. A pro would steal and cover their tracks so to be undetected. No? And it also can modify files to let you know they were there to cause mischief. No? And hackers can install backdoors so they can get in and out. No? Pwede siya magpabalik-balik dun sa system na yon. So maglalagay siya ng backdoors. And hackers can attack other systems. Yan. So yan yung mga pwede niyang gawin pag siya ay nakapasok na. And then the common attacks are the spoofing. The definitions of that, an attacker alters his identity so that someone think he is someone else. Katulad ng email, user ID, IP addresses. The attacker exploits trust relation between user and network machines to gain access to machines. So magpapadala niya ng kung ano-ano, akala mo legit, yung pala nag-i-start na siyang mag-spoof, no? Doon sa iyong system. And there are different types of spoofing. Meron tayong IP spoofing, email spoofing, and web spoofing. So IP spoofing. Attacker uses IP address of another computer to acquire information or to gain access. So how it is worked? The attacker changes his own IP address to spoof addresses. So attacker can send messages to a machine masquerading as a spoof machine. Attacker cannot receive messages from that machine. So ibig sabihin nun, out of the IP address, nagkakaroon siyang ng chance, no, to view what you have in your IP addresses. So pag nakita niya na kung ano doon, pwede niya nang i-attack, no, lahat yun, mga nandun. Next is the source routing. The definitions of that source routing out of the IP spoofing is the attacker spoofs the address of another machine and insert itself between the attack machine and the spoof machine to intercept replies. Yung the packet may change over time. To ensure that it stays in the loop, the attacker uses source routing to ensure that the packet passes through certain nodes on the network. So alam naman natin yung IP addresses ay pwede nating mag-gain yung kanyang network system. Kaya yung ating source Yung ating IP spoofing, nagso-source routing. And then, email spoofing naman, the attacker sends messages masquerading as someone else. What can be the repercussions? So, the repercussions of this, syempre, ikiklik mo yan, lalo na kung man, nanalo ka raw, no? Nanalo ka sa ganito, nanalo. Or, tamang-tama naman, on time naman, nag-a-apply ka. So, sabi gano'n, nakuha ka na raw. Just click on this site. No? Okay, there are different types of email spoofing. Number one, it create an account with similar email address. So, katulad nga nung pinag-a-applyan mo, parang-pareho sila no, ng email address. And then number two, modify a mail client. Attacker can put in any return address he wants to in the mail he send. So, kaya yung kala mo, doon ka magkiklik, yung pala ang kiniklik mo ay iba na. Then telnet to port 25. Most mail servers use port 25 for SMTP. Attackers lags onto this port and composes a message for the users. So a message that instructions that that the port can manipulate through your email. And then the web spoofing. So we have the basic. The attacker registers a web address matching an entity. Example, votebash.com, gproducts.com, gsax.com. So it's the attacker registers no, yung mga web addresses. Meron naman tinatawag na man-in-the-middle attack. The attacker acts as a proxy between the web server and the client. Kaya akala mo, galing na talaga yun sa iyong web server. Attacker has to compromise the router or a node through which the relevant traffic flows. Kasi kapag ikaw ay nag-install ng iyong website, no, kailangan meron kang server. Yan. Kaya yung iba, ina-attack muna nila yung server. And then, we have this URL rewriting. Under web spoofing, attacker redirects web traffic to another site that is controlled by the attackers. No, kaya tayo, kinokontrol tayo ng mga ads. No, kaya nakaka-visit na ads na yan. Attacker writes his own website and address before the legitimate link. Diba? Parang spoofing na rin nga yung mga advertisement na yan. Biro mo, kasi kalagitnaan ng panonood mo, lalabas yung ano na yan, ng mga ads na yan. And then, tracking state is another one. When a user logs onto a site persistent, authentication is maintained. This authentication can be stolen for masquerading as the user. So, tracking state. Yan, so maraming nagaganyan. Tracking state, mga kumuha. Gusto niyo ba magtrabaho sa madaling mag-ano lang kayo, magiging encoder lang kayo. So, ganyan ang gagawin nyo. Magtatrack lang pala kayo. Then, the denial of service or the DOS, the definitions of that is attack through which a person can render a system unusable or significantly slow down the system for legitimate users by overloading the system so that no one else can use it. There are different types of denial of service, crashing the system or network. It means send the victim data or packet, which will cause system to crash or reboot. And number two, exhausting the resources by flooding the system or network with information. Since all resources are exhausted, others are denied access to the resources. It flood yung system mo ng mga information. And then number three, distributed DOS. The attacks are coordinated to denial of service attacks involving several people and or machine to launch attacks. And then the password attacks, a hacker can exploit a weak password and uncontrolled network modems easily. Kaya nga sometimes weak na yung password tsaka username. Nagdadagdag pa sila ng ibang security para hindi naman mapasok agad-agad yung kanilang system. So there are these steps. Hacker gets the phone number of a company. Hacker runs war dialer program. Okay, so yan yung mga, if original number is 555, he runs all the numbers in 55555. So tayo nag-start ang number natin. No? Para mga number yan ng ng delivery. When modem answers, he records the phone number of the modem. Okay, so hacker now needs a user ID and password to enter company networks. Not only kung ID lang naman at user ID lang ng password, dapat strong password, di ba? Often companies have default account, example them, anonymous with no password. Often the root account uses company as the password. For strong password cracking techniques exist. Yan. So meron tayong mga weak and strong password. Okay, so the process of password attacks. It find a valid user ID, create a list of possible passwords, rank the password from high probability to low, type in each password. If the system allows you in, success. No? If not, try again. Being careful not to exceed password lockout, the number of times you can guess a wrong password before the system shuts down, and what let you try anymore. Kaya meron nga, di ba, sa ATM natin hanggang 3 lang. Kapag ikaw ay nag-create or nag-type ng wrong password, after 3 trials, captured na ang iyong card. So, there are different types of password attacks. Meron tayong tinatawag na dictionary attack. Hacker tries all words in dictionary to crack password. 70% of the people use dictionary words as password. So, dapat pala, no, mag-create ka ng system na ang laman ay dictionary. Para sila na mismo nag-attack. Brute force attack is another one. It try all permutations of the letters and symbols in the alphabet. And then the hybrid attack naman, words from dictionary and their variations used in attack. So meron din tayong social engineering. So people write password in different places. People disclose password naively to others. So yan yung social engineering, karamihan. Binibigay natin yan, ginagawa natin yan sa ating mga boyfriend or sa mga girlfriend na napipirahan lang pala kayo. Pagtingin niyo sa inyong ATM, wala nang laman. Then shoulder surfing. Hackers slyly watch over people's shoulders to steal password. Hindi mo alam, nasa likod mo na pala, no? Kinukuha na lang yung iyong, tinitingnan na lang kung ano yung password na gagamitin mo. And then the dumpster diving. People dump their trash papers in garbage, which may contain information to crack the password. Galing naman ito. Siguro magkasabwat yon, no? So, nauso dati noon sa mga computer shop, merong keylogger yung kanila para ma-determine, makapasok dun sa account ng mga gamers. Okay, why do attackers attack? Siyempre, financial gain, espionage, venting anger at company or organization, terrorism, and because they can. And because they want. And because they want to be famous. Famous ba yun, mga hackers? Okay, so ethical hacking naman, independent computer security professionals breaking into the computer systems, neither damage the target system nor steal information. It's evaluate target system security and report back to owners about the vulnerabilities found. So, meron ba tayong ethical hacking? So, ethical hackers is not criminal hackers, completely trustworthy. Strong programming and computer networking skills. Learn about the system and trying to find its weaknesses. So, kalamitan ito yung mga nagtetest ng inyong mga system. No? Karaniwan kasi merong department yan to test the integrity and of your system. So bago nila i-out sa market yan, dadaan muna yan sa department, sa testing of system. And then techniques of criminal hackers, detection, preventions. Publish research, papers, or release security software. No ex-hackers. So yan yung mga ethical hackers is not a criminal hackers. Yan. So doon na tayo sa Ah, sa virus naman, nasa taas kasi yung viruses ko. Yan, oh. Yan. Sa viruses tayo ngayon. So in viruses, alam na natin yan, di ba? Computer virus refers to a program which damages computer system or destroy or erases data files. Virus is a small piece of program that can infect other programs by modifying them to include a copy of itself. Ayan, so ayun, ito yung ating history ng virus. So, hindi ko na lang i-discuss, basahin nyo na lang yan. No? And then, difference between virus and worm. Ano daw ba ang difference ng virus sa worm? Kasi itong worm na to hanggang ngayon existing pa rin yan, you know? The difference between a worm and a virus is that a virus does not have a propagation vector. Example, it will only affect one host and does not propagate to other hosts. Worms propagate and infect other computers. Majority of threats are actually worms that propagate to other hosts. Until now, meron pa ring worms. So there are different types of computer virus. Meron tayong time bomb, logical bomb, worm, boot sector, macros, script, and Trojan. Ayan, isa-isahin lang yung ano ba yung time bomb. Time bomb is a virus program that performs an activity on a particular date. Kaya nga time eh. So, dun lang siya papasok sa date na yon kung kailan ilagay yung date ng kanyang pagpasok. Tulad ng 2000, di ba? 2K virus. Yan, baka meron tayong 3K virus. Basta mag-0-0 na. Kaya logical bomb naman is a destructive program that performs an activity when a certain action has occurred. So ito, example, programmer may hide a piece of code that starts deleting files such as salary database should they ever be terminated from the company. Ayan. So yung mga tinanggal na sa company, kasi nga sabi nga sa company, kapag ikaw ay nagtrabaho as a programmer, lahat ng trinabaho mong programs sa kanila mapupunta yun at wala kang iuwi kundi ang sarili mo lang. So yung iba kasi naglalagay ng logical bomb para i-triggers, no? Pag wala na sila, magti-trigger yung bomb na yan. So siyempre, sinong tatawagin? Sila pa rin. Okay, so worm, alam na natin yung worm na yan. And then boot sector virus. So from the word boot sector, it started when you start your computers to on status, to on mode. So magbabasa na kasi ang ating sectors, magbuboot na yan. So nandun yung kanyang, hindi na mag-open. No? And then we have the macro. Macro virus is a virus that is written in a macro language. So, di ba meron tayong mga macro languages katulad ng pinag-aaralan natin sa word process, sa words, MS Word at saka sa Excel. So, ewan ko lang kung naturo na sa inyo yung macro programming sa inyong mga macro virus. And then the script virus usually comes from the web page advertisement and is therefore a widespread. So, scripting language kasi yan, yan yung nagpa-pop up sa inyong mga computers pagka kayo ay nag-open ng website. And then Trojan virus usually comes with monitoring tools and keyloggers. Yan, alam na this. Then, the virus affecting the Turing machine, kasi meron tayong Turing machine. Cohen uses a Turing machine model where each virus in a viral set produces an element of the set on some part of the tape. So, ito naman ay gumagamit. Ito dati na tong virus na to. Yung mga gumagamit pa ng mga tapes. Ayan. So, virus detection, given a known computer virus, V, consider the problem of detecting an infection by V. So, usually naman, meron naman tayong ini-store na virus detection program natin. So, pero 100% yung madedetect, pero yung makikure, parang hindi 100%. Ayan, so yung ating mga virus detection. Exactly the same problem, no test. Yan. So, yun na yung ating discussions ng hacking and the creations of viruses. Diba? So, yung virus ng computer, hindi natin yan inaalala eh. Ang inaalala natin ngayon ay yung virus ng ating katawan sa ngayon na wala pang cure. No? Meron ng detections, pero wala pang cure. So, yun sana yung maano natin, mahanap natin, no? Yung ating cure sa ating coronavirus. Okay? So, yun na po yung end ng ating discussions na dapat ay i-discuss ni Marlene.